What's up, everybody? Logan here again with another video. Today I'm joined by Errol Coleman, and even just having a conversation with him is one of the coolest things ever. As I've been watching him on TikTok for about a year, and I know everybody's been loving all the guests that we've been having on. I love Errol's trading style, and it's just like one of those moments. Like, I'm not trying to fangirl or anything, but it's just really exciting. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on.
yeah, thanks for having me, Logan. And it's just funny because I remember Logan and we kind of messaged back and forth quite a while ago
Yeah.
or quite a bit ago. So it's kind of cool to actually be on here and talk and just seeing the content that Logan's been posting and things like that and how he's growing his community. I think it's just extremely dope. I mean, Logan saw me from when I was growing in the beginning, and I saw him from when he really wasn't growing at all. And now I see him creating, hustling, putting out that content, a lot of content that is for free, first of all, about options. Because I was looking through some of your previous videos again with your other guests. So yeah, no, good work. It's pretty dope to be on here and we just get to talk about options because I'm now getting into that for the first time. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be a journey.
And if you guys don't know, Errol's currently working on the like TastyTrades videos that you probably have seen or heard of, maybe not as of recently. And if you want to get into that experience a little bit later, we'll talk about it and how you got to meet Tom. And it's just crazy. I mean, he's the co-founder of Thinkorswim and
Yeah.
TastyTrades as
Which is a
well.
great program, honestly. That's where I learned technical analysis. First, let's just talk about the first position I took. That one's down. What it was DM.
Okay.
And I post all of these on my YouTube channel as well. I'm going to post a second update. So a lot of what we're talking about today, we'll talk about more tomorrow on my channel. But we have DM. This position's down. I think it was we sold a put spread, I believe, on this. This was my very first option I've ever executed, like ever, which is cool again. Yeah. So I'll always remember DM, whether I make or lose money on this. This was my first option that I'm trading. So DM, yeah, it likes to drop right when I buy. PLTR, that's the second one I'm in right now. We sold another put spread on PLTR. I think it was the day before earnings, actually. So literally the day before it has a huge gap down. Of course, I get in right here. But no, it's really cool to see like a strategy around my objective. So basically, Tom, and again, if you don't know, Tom's the founder of Thinkorswim, now the CEO of TastyTrade, and TastyTrade puts out a ton of free options content as well, which is super awesome. But we'll just let Tom know: are you bullish? Are you bearish on this stock? Are you neutral? You know, how bullish are you? How bearish are you? And then when I let him know the ticker and how bullish or bearish or neutral I might be, then he'll suggest some strategy that just fits around the ideas I have in my head. So whether it plays out or not, whatever. But we're getting a really good sense for when you're in this situation, or if you're looking for this to happen, you could probably look at this strategy or this strategy. But yeah, not too well versed in options yet, but it's fun in PLTR right now. We don't the tasting mechanics, which it's called the tasting mechanics. They don't manage any of the really the positions until about 21 days till expiration, and they do that because of a lot of data they track and things like that. They just figured out when's the best time overall to really do things. But that's really the DM and PLTR positions we put on the first week. The second week, what was it? Excuse me. I think it was Riot. Yeah, we have Riot on. I think I'm missing one. Can you guess where I got in? Anyways,
I'm gonna assume it was probably like 80, or right before the drop.
I believe it was this day, this 18th. So I think that was Monday.
Okay.
But anyways, so yeah, down on the right position. That one was a call diagonal or diagonal call. That's the position we put on there, and we have one of the positions expiring within this month, in the March month.
Okay.
Or it's the next month, but yeah, one expiring in March, and then we have the other one expiring in April. So that's super cool, like how you can buy and sell in different calendar periods, which is again something completely new for me, fresh into options. But and then the last one I have is silver on. I just have a neutral position on silver. So basically, I just wanted to stay within a specific range, ideally above 23, below 33. That's just basically the range we have. And we sold strangle, I believe, on there. So
Yeah.
first time really getting into all these option strategies, really seeing what's best. But yeah, that's kind of how things are going right now.
It's awesome.
PLTR. I like PLTR a little more long term, so I'm not really too worried about what's happening with it in the short term. But no, yeah, those are just the positions I have on right now. Right now, I still need to bring another position for Tom on Friday, so I'm gonna add something to the portfolio on Friday. We'll see what it is. Maybe Spy. I haven't gotten Spy at all.
I was gonna say it's always a great one. Spy is like the one that I always hop into.
Hmm.
So that's like my main position every week. Is I'll roll with
Cool.
like 5, 6, 7,000 in collateral on it, and
Mhm.
shoot for like 300 to 400 on just Spy. So
Yeah,
it's a
that's
really
cool.
really
I think it'd be something cool to add to the portfolio. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, just building this portfolio. So again, every Monday, Friday, we're just adding one more, adding one more to the portfolio. Then we'll probably manage the next ones whenever that day comes. But right now, just in the process of just adding things to our portfolio. And again, which I think is one of the most important parts is knowing what to do when you're in a situation. So not that what do I do in the situation to make money, but okay, Tom, when I'm on my own and all this kind of stuff, when I'm in this type of scenario, this specific scenario, what's best? What's going to work best in this case? A defined risk strategy, an undefined risk strategy, and then on top of that, why?
Mm-hmm.
And once I can build that firm foundation, and just for anybody, if you're learning at the same time as me, or if you just started learning options this year, um, just understand which I think is the most important, just understanding why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just going to help tremendously. And when I get into more of, I guess, the small cap stocks, when we start talking about here in a moment,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about different scenarios you need like experience with to know, okay, in this scenario, what should I do? And that's what I just want to grasp in options, because with options, I just wonder, like, what does opportunity look like in the options world? Like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I just think like trading small cap stocks, like I know what I'm looking for. I know what looks good. I know what doesn't look good. And now that I'm in options, I feel like I'm wandering a little bit, and it's a little out of, you just have to step outside your comfort zone and go with it. But
The one thing, yeah, with what you're saying, I love hearing
mm,
like that's what you're thinking about, like the opportunity, right? And I
mm,
think one thing with options that a lot of people don't take in consideration, I think everybody comes into options, or at least I've heard a lot of people with this. Hey, I saw that you made 3 grand on a trade. I want to do the same thing, right? So I get a lot of that, or I get a lot of, I want to make as much money today as possible, right? Like, what's the best day trade today? What's the best swing trade? And options are more of like a way to leverage time for me than anything, which is, okay, I want to build my portfolio and set a goal for a month out, 3 months out, right? 6 months out. So there's so many different ways to do that. You can buy leap options, right? Where if there's a stock that you're bullish on over the long term, you could buy a contract which simulates like you have 100 shares of that stock, but you just pay the premium price. So Beyond was one that I missed an opportunity on when they had dipped to 115.
mm.
Beyond back in early January, I actually had my first Beyond Meat burger that week, like the first week of
Oh yeah.
January. Yeah, I was like, well, I should look into some Beyond Leaps. And for like twenty eight hundred
After you,
dollars on the red day,
mhm.
around 120, I could have bought. I think it was the 130 call. There was like a 140 call for the end of the year, like closer to September. Happened to Beyond in that contract that was worth about 2,800 on the first
Mhm.
week. By the end of the month, when it spiked to 221, was worth close to $10,000 to $12,000,
Wow.
which is ridiculous, right? Like,
Yeah, that's insane.
and I only had to pay 2,800. But the only reason why I didn't take that position was the opportunity cost of
Uh
locking
huh.
up 2,800 until, you know, I planned on holding Beyond for probably 3 to 4 months. And if there was no traction, then I would cut it for probably a small loss, depending on the price action, right? Because a lot of options premiums depend on how the price action works. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is it's such a risky, like leveraged way of trading that they don't really understand the risk, because it is a
Mm.
risky way to trade. But if you do it correctly with the right risk management, I have yet to find any other trading strategy that will bring you gains as consistently if you're doing it the right way and you have the right amount of capital like for your account, right? because
Hmm.
yeah, it's hard, as you know, right? If you have a smaller account, it's hard to really grow that thing. But not saying that you can't do it, but
Yeah.
it's like once you kind of feel what doesn't make you emotional with trading and what will, and then your mindset as a trader, you start to look at time a little bit more when it comes to playing options instead of how can I make all this money in like 2 days, 3 days because you saw
Hmm.
someone on YouTube do it, or your buddy
Yeah.
said he made 1,000 in like 10 minutes or something.
Hmm. No,
So,
definitely. I think you bring a good point, and kind of what it sounds like you're getting at is you're very focused on the process. Like,
hmm
again, like you're saying, like some people might see this or see this amount of money. How do I do this? But it's almost like that's the byproduct. That money or that income you're looking for is a byproduct with you doing your job correctly. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I think that's a huge point you touch on. And then another thing that you kind of touched on there is, which I think is so underrated, is knowing how you react to certain things. Like, for you personally, what's going to make you uncomfortable and drive you to make certain irrational decisions. You know what I mean? So I think that's something important for every individual trader. And I can just relate back to how I trade in the market. I'm not too much into options yet, but for me personally, I know my triggers. I know what dollar amount is going to make me nervous. I know,
hmm
even if I try to tell myself getting in this trade, I'm okay with losing X amount. I know when I'm lying to myself, and I know if
hmm
this comes and hits my stop loss, I know I'm going to be affected. That's going to make me emotional, and then it can be a snowball effect into your next trades. So I think that's huge, knowing your triggers so you don't trigger it and you don't go down that path, which is something people don't talk about again in just trading in general, because anyone can make money.
hmm
Making money again and again is the difficult part. And I think that has to do a lot with how you think. So I'm going to explain a little bit. I'm just going to jump around here real quick,
Yeah,
Logan.
let's do it.
I explained the live trade on my channel the other day about this, but I want to explain the psychology behind big, like, intraday type bubbles, big moves, like 1,000% move and whatever. So this is pretty cool again, because I can bring up like multiple examples, but um first, when we're trading small caps, and I know we're just totally shifting gears from
Oh, it's all good.
options to small caps, yeah, but when we're trading small caps, you really want to understand what is the long buyer thinking, what is the short seller thinking. When we get this in the morning, a massive gap up, and people always ask, well, how do you find stuff like that? Why were your eyes even on that in the first place? Literally super simple, just a gap scanner, your top percent gainers, and you're gonna find these tickers. There's a lot of people online like, look how I found this before it ran. Look how I did. Like, no, everyone was looking at it. It just gapped up. Just tell them how you did it. You can go on Finviz for free,
hmm
and it'll show the top percent gainers, top losers. But for the most part, when it's these small penny stocks that you see taking off, people are finding them from just a top percent gainer scanner. But this is gapping up about 216%. So
Wow.
immediately, short sellers wake up and they're like, yo, I'm ready to pounce on this thing. They're penny stocks. People always see them, what goes up must come down.
hmm
If fundamentals aren't very involved in penny stocks at all, because they're bad fundamentals. If they weren't bad fundamentals, they wouldn't be a penny stock in the first place. That's why technicals and psychology are heavily relied on in the small cap space.
hmm
But just knowing that it's gapping up over 200% lets me know short sellers are hungry to short this. And out the gate, when I see this immediate failed morning spike,
hmm
that's letting me know there's probably short sellers jumping on this right when it spiked in the morning, hoping for the thing to just tank. And whenever they don't get that, it'll squeeze out some short sellers that, shorted that first pop. Um, and then again, after you see this right here, you might think, oh, it's done for the day. Come back, and it might start fading off for the day. Just like how most penny stocks do, they'll fade off for the day. And whenever short sellers get in here and it doesn't actually start fading off for the day, they'll get squeezed. And one way you can spot these short squeezes is whenever the volume starts to slow down, liquidity being pumped into the stock starts to slow down and it's not actually cracking.
hmm
This slow grinding action right here, and I know this again because I'm a short seller, scares short sellers. Like, I'm telling you, short sellers are really scared when they see this type of action, especially when it doesn't break the day low, because now they're fearing, okay, is this going to turn around on me? It's not actually cracking and losing its momentum. So once they see that, one thing we have to realize in the market is we forget that it is a zero-sum game. When you're making money, someone's losing money. We forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very much so, can be very competitive, especially with a high volume stock, especially on penny stocks. So when a lot of short sellers are making money in this and it's coming down, a lot of the short sellers, when it starts consolidating, a lot of them are now thinking, okay, if this doesn't keep cracking, where am I going to get out? And when short sellers get out, they have to buy back their stock, which again increases the buying pressure,
Mm-hmm.
which can cause that short squeeze. So now it's a thinking game. Now it's okay. When I see this action, it can potentially squeeze me. Um, Now it's like, okay, I want to be one of the first short sellers to get out before other short sellers realize other short sellers are covering. Then by the time I want to cover, the stock is up on me an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. You never know how bad a short squeeze can be. Because look at this. If you're shorting this and you say you want to risk the day high at 14 and you hold and it goes to 26 and you're like, it's got to come back down, and you're shorting and you hold and it pops to 35, you're down now like 200% if you buy, you know what I mean? I mean, almost 200%. Because again, with shorting, you can lose more than, yeah, your initial investment.
That's
So,
crazy.
um, I'm just going to go back to the psychology of this again. So, long story short, SCKT had a massive short squeeze, and these massive short squeezes can provide amazing opportunity for the longs to then profit off of. So, from the pre market, it's not that longs knew this was going to run up, people knew this was going to run up. This is just by sitting by your computer and being able to recognize opportunity yourself, recognizing, oh, it looks like this isn't going to go the short's way, it's going to squeeze them out. I can, profit off of this or capitalize on this.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, what's really interesting, since we've had such a bull market, I've noticed this is coming a little more often right now.
Mm-hmm.
Since we had like GME, AMC, all that kind of stuff, I realized we're getting a lot of new money into the market.
Mm-hmm.
And when people see those big moves, they feel FOMO. So a lot of people that miss even GME and AMC, all those kind of stocks, they'll see a penny stock like this run up hundreds of percent. So they'll get in it expecting like a gap up the next day. And when a lot of longs and a lot of traders that don't really understand what's going on, when they get in and they don't get the gap up that they were looking for the next day, they're now realizing, okay, they're wrong. And they're probably going to want to sell their position
Mm-hmm.
into a bounce or something to just try and recoup as much money as possible. So this is where the psychology heavily comes into play. And this is why I love penny stocks, because it's a lot of trader versus trader in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see this, I see it losing liquidity. First of all, that's a huge sign of this stock is going to have a difficult time breaking this previous day's consolidation areas and all that. It's just a mess now. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand if I get that pop, you can dip by the pop. I dip bought it in that one video. I'm not sure if you've seen it at all, but I got to dip by that, and then it's just weak for the day. So you can capitalize on little pops like that. If it's coming up,
Mm-hmm.
just get out of the trade because it's going to be short lived. And I'm just going to bring up this graphic that's going to help a lot. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. This will make a lot more sense. And then for the people that are trading like GameStop, AMC, or the people that are still upset about that situation, this is what's going on for the most part. So the first stage of a bubble, which GME, when you saw it going massive, the day before all the momentum was like cracked, the day before all that controversy was going on when they stopped
Mm-hmm.
the trading that day, that was basically this first push downwards. And this is where GameStop was. And then when it barely bounced, this is that bounce where everyone was like, oh no, it's coming back, it's coming back. And then it eventually turns around on them. But
Mm-hmm.
this is pretty much the main stages of a bubble. Again, when we're trading penny stocks, SCKT had that massive move up, again, which is a short squeeze, which caused it. And we can even relate that to GameStop. That was caused by a massive short squeeze again. So that's pretty cool, just on a large scale. But that's exactly what happened. And then when that momentum is cracked, usually a lot of people that have FOMO and missed out on the move, that's why right here is called a bull trap. All the people that missed out, didn't want to chase, they get that first dip. It's a bull trap. They all buy into it thinking it's about to go to the moon again, and then it doesn't, and then that's when they get caught holding a little too long. But that was SCKT, that massive move, the drop, the second high, and then it just kind of fades off. But that's just a little bit about the psychology in penny stocks, why I like it, why I enjoy it. I'm going to bring up Thinkorswim again. I'm going to show another example from this morning.
I'm excited. Yeah, the GME
Yeah.
stuff was crazy, and I heard a couple people that I've been trading with got in at like 40. Some other got in at like 60, and
Oh, wow.
it really caught my attention at 120 the first day
Hmm.
that it really started taking off and ran to like 300 and some, and then the next day when it hit the high and then got halted the day after. And I
Hmm.
never hopped in just because I know that stocks always have to return to their mean when they get pumped up like that. So
Hmm.
just knowing that, I felt like playing, like if I was to take a position, which I would have just bought shares, wouldn't have bought an options contract during that time. Like I'm already being full court pressed right now
Hmm.
because there's more pressure, even though it's going to go up. We had, we're going to have to return back to the mean. Then they halted trading, and I know a lot of people were trying to take positions then. Like the day after they let trading happen again, we saw
Hmm.
that little pump, and then it really sold off, like you stated.
Hmm. No, yeah, definitely. And then after a while into that, once it's on the backside of the move, especially. So I'll even use this as an example because, again, what's cool about penny stocks is like you trade bubbles like every day, like they're
Mm-hmm.
so irrational and it goes so much off of what people are thinking, all that, because a penny stock will go up 100%, no question, 200%. You won't see Tesla, again, for the people that don't understand. The small cap stocks have a lot less supply. So when a stock has a lot less supply, it's a lot easier for the stock to shoot upwards or downwards. Again, that's why it's not easy for someone like Tesla or Apple to go up 100% in one day because
Mm-hmm.
it's a way larger cap stock, has so much more money. It takes a lot more to move that stock. But if anyone's wondering, that's why penny stocks can be so volatile. But we have SYPR right here today. And again, short sellers definitely profited on this one. Gapping up 100 over 160%. So it's just another one. Short sellers are probably waking up like, yes, another stock just sitting in the air,
Mm-hmm.
waiting to just come right back down. And one thing that's kind of interesting is last week I saw a lot of stocks squeezing short sellers. So a lot of people that were buying the breakouts really made a lot of money and profited. And now what I'm noticing this week, we're getting a lot of fake outs. Now this week we're getting a lot of, if you're buying the breakout, it's probably turning around and dumping on you. So this is something I want to bring to your attention real quick. And this is how you can spot opportunity going long. A lot of long buyers out the gate. And then we can see this candlestick took the high. And whenever that happens, that brings in a lot of new buyers when something takes the high. And immediately it dumps on them. So everyone that bought this breakout, it just turned around on them and dumped. If you're someone that's new to trading small cap stocks, just cut, just get out, just get out. If you're wrong, just get out. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that's new, they end up becoming bag holders. They'll buy these breakouts, they can't catch it or whatever. They think maybe it'll come back, then they hold, and it starts making lower highs and lower lows, and it's just a mess from there, becoming a bag holder. And we all go through it. And I
Oh
understand a lot
yeah.
of this because I used to be a bag holder. I am the one that used to buy into these fake outs. And that's one reason why I understood a lot with shorting. I was like, wow, if I short some of these, there's an edge there. But one thing I just want to show again, whenever you see something at the highs. So again, if I were to short this, let's just say I was in around somewhere right here. If I'm shorting this, I'm going to get out and I'm probably going to set my risk level exactly right here.
Mm-hmm.
And why, again, even if I see this coming up, making higher highs, I'm just going to wait because I need that area where the short sellers are emotional and where there's going to be an emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, again, don't understand there's other people on the other side of your trade. A lot of people think the market kind of just does its own thing. Oh, it formed some type of pattern, or oh, it pressed up against a resistance and then it had a massive pop. But there's a reason why behind that. Why did it kind of stop at that resistance? Okay, maybe longs are taking profit at the resistance. Why price stops right there? You know what I mean? It's not just things happen for no reason. But by just understanding these little things, it'll just help so much in you not be in trades that you shouldn't be in. Because again, I got messages about people in this one. They're like, hey, Errol, like, this is faking me out. I thought this was going long. It's above VWAP. It's looking good. It's looking strong. Why did it just turn around and dump on me? And this is why penny stocks can be so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, how is this bullish? So much volume, so much everything. And then massive red candles out of nowhere. What kind of sense does that make? And I completely understand. Maybe that's why I short them, but I'm just kidding. Just understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about a stock gapping up so much. Understand the risk to reward. Just like what we were talking about with Beyond Meat,
Yep.
when it dropped down to 120,
Yeah.
that risk to reward in your eyes was probably like, wow, this is amazing. The upside compared to the downside on this, how can I pass this up? So that's exactly how I look at it in my eyes in this niche of the market. If something's gapping up 160%, I see that as so much more risk to the downside if I'm trying to go long than there is to the upside. Even if we do get an extra push, an extra 30% push that no one can predict, is it still a smart trade to take when there's more risk to the downside than upside? So that's where it's going to kind of come from. And like we talked about, you kind of get to a point to where it's like, I just want to know what I can repeat. I just want something where I understand, I can see the opportunity coming, and that I can just rinse, wash, and repeat. Because like we talked about again earlier, anyone can make money in the market, but it is difficult to be able to repeat the action that you just did and understand why. So with penny stocks, not going to get too much into like the details and this, but with penny stocks, you can really track a lot of data with penny stocks on formulating strategies. And just to talk about TastyTrade a little bit more, one thing that's super interesting about them, and why I'm really happy to be able to start off options with them, is a lot of their process is based off of statistics. So why do they buy the contract that's so out of the money or in the money or at the money for this strategy? Or why do they check their expiration date or try to manage their trades here and thinking about, do I want to roll my position or do I want to get out my position? All of that is backed up by statistics and just data. And the reason why that's so nice, again, is data is not telling us what's going to happen. It's just letting us know that what's the market's general reaction to this scenario. So that's something that I think is really interesting and going to be awesome to get more into TastyTrade and learn more about the options and how they use their data. So that's pretty much it with the small caps that I have here, bro. Just a little bit of psychology. I like short selling them for the most part. That's where I see most of the edge. And I track mostly statistics with this. So even go back, check with the market cap in this range, a float in this range, and the stock gapping up this much. What is out of 100 samples? What's the likelihood, or what's my win percent if I short this, or what's my win percent if I go long on it? So you're not hard on yourself if the trade doesn't go your way. Say I short this and say it comes and squeezes me. It doesn't mean I'm a bad trader. It just means on this one, it didn't work out. But if I keep taking that same trade, even though I lost money on it, is it going to work in my favor in the long run? And again, I think that finding what's going to work for you out of 20 trades, out of 50 trades, out of 100 trades, what is my net going to look like? And I think that's something that's kind of overlooked. So, and something that I think sounds like you're getting down pretty well, and like how with your trading options and how you kind of mentioned the leap options, you're kind of understanding what's going to work with me, what numbers are going to work in my favor over time. So I think that's pretty cool. But
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, this breakdown helped me out a ton because I've never like short sold anything, especially penny stocks. I don't really touch them as much, but there is definitely an art to it, and you got it down really well. And it's something that I may start looking into, just to experiment with, just like how you're just starting options. It's just when you hear about it and you have a great opportunity, like we even have right now, I think it's just so cool to, like, number one, I'm getting firsthand info from you and learning even more, like, because I'd never play penny stocks.
This is more psychology of what I'm about to explain now. So,
okay.
SEKT, the last time it just popped up, right? Just like last week, it traded about 227 million volume, which is massive. Created a ton of resistance this day. It might pop back up and could be a short if it goes up high enough. But there's a ton of bag holders from this day, like I talked about right here. So there's a lot of people still holding their positions right here, going long. And again, like we talked about the second day, a lot of them look to sell on a bounce, and that can still work. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a bounce. So hopefully the most ideal situation is if this bounced to like 28, that'd be a beautiful short probably, if it could somehow get to 28. And again, the level I'm risking is probably this day, around here. If it starts making higher highs from this day, I'm probably out. But there again, there's a lot of psychology, because some people, they're going to see this gapping up and thinking, wow, this probably could go on another run. And yes, it might. But just understand that run could be short-lived. That might be the lower high. So sometimes it's nice to zoom out. So start on a larger time frame. Zoom out, start on the day time frame. Check, when is the last time this spiked? Is there a wall behind me that's going to slap this stock back down that I'm not picking up on? And it really, like, I thought that was so interesting. I was like, there's nothing wrong. Like you follow through with your plan. But in my head, I was like, where do they see opportunity? Like, why do they see opportunity right here? And why am I doing the opposite? Why do I see opportunity the opposite direction?
Yep.
And then I realized sometimes there will be like breakout patterns or wedges forming in spots where there is massive resistance. And a lot of times that gets a lot of people kind of stuck up in trades and don't realize, maybe if I would have zoomed out, I would have saw there's some levels I need to look out for. So just like with, let's say you're going long on SPY, 395 is a high or something like that right now.
Yep.
A lot of new people might not realize 395 is a critical level to, think about. A lot of decisions are going to be made at that 395, level. So that's something with penny stocks you really have to look out for. Just understand, when's the last time the stock spiked? When was the last high? Because it could either get rejected or keep running. And another thing that's super interesting is you can figure out based off of data, how strong is this resistance? Whenever I short something with this mass amount of resistance, does that increase the odds on my trade? And if that does, now okay, whenever I see a setup that has resistance like this, I know it's higher probability. A higher probability setup I can use larger capital on. And again, that's going to just work for you out in the long run. So whenever I see a trade and it's an obvious short setup, even if it's an obvious short setup and I know it's going my way, if the data shows that it's not a super high probability trade, I'm still going to use less capital, even if it looks like such an obvious trade. Yeah, because you really want to look for those trades that you can just constantly repeat. Take the loss, like eat the loss, just eat it. Because if you're confident in your edge, you know the numbers are going to work for you in the long run. So take the loss, minimize your risk. Yeah, manage that risk. And that's another thing I'm excited to get into with options, bro. Like I'm excited to, when I'm in a bad position, this stock is going against me. What do I do? What's the best situation? I just want to know what in this scenario, like, I don't know, how do I protect myself the most? What's the smart thing to do? And I think a lot of that is going to come from data, kind of knowing, what's going to work best for me in the long run. But options seem cool though,
Yeah.
I realized it's not a lot of it's not as much like, it's a lot, it feels more passive, I guess. Like it feels a lot more, and again, I guess it depends the strategies you're using, what expiration dates you choose, and kind of your goal. But I don't know, when I'm shorting stuff, sometimes it's like if you miss your entry, you can miss your entry sometimes, like, and it's just in a split second when you're getting in and out, just day trading, I guess. But it's just a whole new world, bro. Just excited. Yeah. Pretty much all I got. But
definitely, yeah, with options for sure, especially like on SPY, right? I mean, I got stopped out of a couple positions when SPY dropped really hard on Tuesday because I'm looking at my levels, and of course we bounced really hard. The Qs dropped dramatically, like the QQQ fund, and SPY dropped pretty decent too. And I'm currently in some SPY 373, 371 credit spreads. So
okay.
as long as SPY doesn't fall below 373 by Friday, I collect my full collateral, and I usually close some of them before expiration. But if I'm up like 20 points on SPY or even 10, like the chances of it falling 10 points after hours is super low on an ETF. So that's what got me initially. Was I entered this week. I entered when we were 388 on Monday. We gapped down on Tuesday, as you saw, and overnight everything was super red. And I knew, like, I was managing my risk. When I saw we were at 380, everything that I saw showed that we were oversold on the day. So I decided to not close the positions. The IVs were pumping because the VIX had popped and we were in sell mode. So mentally, you have to see, my portfolio that day showed I was down quite a bit. But within the next hour, a lot of it had come back due to just price movement, and then the VIX dropped, so the premiums came back to earth. And that's where I got comfortable saying, you know what, as long as we stay solid, we had a really solid bounce today, I'm comfortable swinging these overnight into tomorrow. So yeah, as long as you are in like the proper mindset, and trading, always, your money always comes back to you. So
definitely,
that's just how it goes.
Definitely, and trading's like, no matter if you make or lose money today, like, this is what I want to tell people too. no matter how much you made or lost, whatever today, like that specific trade doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're someone that really wanted to, or someone that is taking trading more serious and is like, you're going to consider yourself a trader, someone that actually trades and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that one profit loss on that day in the grand scheme of things and how your account, where your account might be sitting, it's like whether you made money or not, that shouldn't be the deciding factor on whether, you know, or not, like this is what you're going to do or this is what you can do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when you're trading, it's just so important to zoom out of the bigger picture. You know, sometimes take the loss, you know, eat the loss. Again, whatever system you're trading, you should really be trading a system where I know after, you know, 20 trades, 30, 50 trades, whether I take losses here and there, I'm taking trades with a nice risk to reward. So I'm taking trades that make sense. And I'm taking high, just calculated trades, and that should really help in the long run. I think a lot of people kind of get caught up with, man, you know, SPY gap down huge and gap down and is dropping. Just kind of just I guess recognize the bigger picture of things again. Because now
Definitely.
look at my Riot position. These are the 4 positions that I'm in right now. I thought I'd just be cool to pull this up. Here's
Definitely.
DM.
Yep.
Those are the strikes for DM. We got PLTR right here. First 2 ever options trades. That's cool. Riot, and then you know a neutral position on silver. So like that's what's cool about options. You can make money when a stock is going sideways, like sideways, and that just blows my mind, honestly.
Right.
But
And that's
yeah,
what
no.
I've always that's how like my new adopted strategy has been. So,
Mhm,
it's a lot less emotionally riveting too when
mhm,
you're in a position and you don't have to worry about it going up to make money or, going sideways. Like the market
mhm,
has been trading sideways on like DIA a lot as of recent. Just consistently, sideways. We even with the high VIX, I mean the VIX is lowering now these days compared
mhm,
to like over the summer. But yeah, that's what I love about trading options and especially on the big
mhm,
ETFs, the index funds, because there's so many holdings in there that
mhm,
you may have Palantir, like Tesla, whatever, right? And it can dramatically move. But with the ETFs, if one of those funds, like let's say Tesla plummets in the Qs, or
mhm.
in Spy, right? It's like, oh, Microsoft's having a good day, so we're gonna be okay. That's
Yeah,
what's really
yeah.
nice, and you're so diversified, and there's nothing to me that trades more sideways than an ETF. So it's so nice to just park your money there, and as long as you manage your risk, I'm confident going into Spy, with a $20 runway for the week, or
Yeah.
2 weeks out, picking up selling the 370 when it's 391 that expires
Mhm.
in 2 weeks and collecting like a 4 or 5% 6% return in that 2 week time. And it's like, well, I'm outperforming the index funds, so I feel great. It's a
Yeah.
really
See,
cool way to
yeah.
look
And
at
I don't even want to go off on a tangent, but oh, man,
it.
people always like it's funny. Just a little backstory. So when I
Yeah.
first started on TikTok, especially, there was some other finance people kind of on there. I was one of the kind of the only like traders, and at that time, trading was so frowned upon, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Trading was so frowned upon. A lot of the financial guys, like the older guys on there that would go on there that are financial advisors or stock analysts, they would have their accounts, and it's funny because they would like I know they would be making videos about me because at the time again I was one of the only traders, but they
Hmm.
would always talk about trading this, trading that, and it just like just bashing it so bad and talking about the index fund this 8% a year, which I think is great. I think
Yeah.
it's amazing to have things sitting in a consistent 8% a year. I think that's amazing.
Yep.
So,
Me too.
but if people do want to trade, there is a correct way to go about it. For you, for example, you didn't just go in there and buying a bunch of naked options, and some people that's might be how some people might have to start. That's how they
Hmm.
kind of get into it. Then they quickly realize, wow, I might need some real education in this thing.
Hmm.
And I know this is a little off topic, but it just really intrigued me. Like the market is such an opportunity. It's an opportunity for all of us, right? Like you don't have to do this as your career, you don't have to, but it's such a valuable skill to have,
Hmm.
whether it's penny stocks, whether it's options. The fact that you're able to pull any type of capital out of the market using a device is absolutely insane. And then the
Right.
information is out there, you know what I mean? Like I saw you The previous one you had posted with another guy that had grown his account massive, right? That's
Hmm.
that's amazing. Where else is that even possible in like today's age? So I just think it's
Right.
such an awesome opportunity. I think never be closed minded. I think that's huge. So me personally, that's something last year when it was 2020, one thing I really focused on was I was like pride, envy, ego. And again, these are like stuff you don't realize can have a direct effect into your trading. So I remember when 2020 came, I was like, I want to be able to be as prideless as possible, egoless as possible, all that. And that has really helped him to my trading. And what I mean by that is you might not even realize if you're someone that hates being wrong, you're going to have a very difficult time in the stock market, right?
100%.
So even if, when some people get in arguments, someone might say something they don't mean, right? Because when they're feeling emotional, they have an irrational reaction, and in my eyes, that's no different from the stock market. When you're emotional, you see things irrational, even if it looks right in your head and you think that's the right decision and that's what you want to do. You might be experiencing emotions that's messing up your perspective on things, and those are little things I actually started to take really serious because the market can really mess with your emotions and
Hmm.
you really need that clear decision making. So that's why I love the psychology of trading. Really, like
Yeah.
I think it's a very personal thing. There's a saying that says the stock market is a direct reflection of you. You know what I mean? So it can go back to those chain reactions when you take a loss and you take another loss because you want to make that money back. Then you take another loss and you might be stubborn here, and it might just show you, wow, you're a stubborn person.
Hmm.
There's probably stuff you need to fix because the market's reflecting exactly what you are. So and the reason why I kind of wanted to touch on that too is because once I started understanding more of these short strategies, I realized, okay, these strategies don't work every single time. Yes, I finally figured out a lot of these and a lot of the nuances, and I probably have an edge over some people because of some of the data I track and they don't. But I wanted to know, like, what is really separating me or from people that are going to Yale, Princeton, Harvard. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what's the difference? Like, there's no way I just figured this stuff out. Like, let's be real. The information is out there. The people that have the information, why aren't they just successful, super successful in what they're doing? And I realize it's a personal thing. It really is a personal thing. Um, Knowing your triggers, knowing how you react in certain situations. Money is a very emotional thing for people, and I understand it's money. It's real life money. We're all out here, working, trying to provide. We have families, whatever it might be. So money is going to be an emotional thing,
Hmm.
and that is like a double-edged sword because you're going to live or die by it. You know what I mean? You
100%.
might make a lot of money doing this or this, um, but eventually it's going to come back and get you because you're going to make an irrational decision. And when you're making decisions because of money or how much money you can make on this trade or the potential, you start to lose sight of what really matters. And again, that's where it goes back to you need to zoom out. What's the bigger picture? What's going to help me and work for me over the long run?
Yeah.
But I thought that was super interesting. I realized the psychology and all that was really what sets people apart. And being very self-aware, and I think it goes back to again just working on yourself, understanding yourself, know yourself better than anybody knows you.
Yep.
And I think you would be shocked. I think people would shock themselves of what they can do and like the potential they have in themselves if they focus on themselves and not what other people think of them, what other people whatever. I think people would shock themselves what they could really do. So
Yeah.
excited though for options though, bro. Little tangent,
And that
but
was always a big thing for me, right? Is, worrying about other people's opinions for a long time.
mhm.
And then you get in your zone. Like, it's hard to
Yeah.
explain. It's like you just have a groundbreaking day. I don't know if it's like a day. I mean, it's of course not just a day, it's cumulative, right? Every day, every year. But there is
Mhm.
literally just a day that you sit back, you look around, and you just go, oh my gosh, like other people's
Mhm.
opinions have just,
Don't matter.
yeah, it's like
It's and
erased.
and it's like, why was I even? It's like, why was I even thinking about what you thought about me? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have an opinion on me regardless if I do X, Y, or Z. Because, bro,
Yep.
again, like, it just like I just keep thinking back to the times like people talk so much mess about me, especially when trading wasn't even popular.
Mhm.
Gambling this, gambling that, and I'm just like, wow, all this time, all the data I collect, all of this, like, I'm not just YOLOing stuff. I'm not just, you know what I mean? So and then I
Yeah.
realized like, why do I care what you think? You know what I mean? Like what you think isn't going to help me out in the future. What you think is going to be worthless in 2 seconds from now, and I might not even know you in a week or what. You know what I mean? So we just think
100%.
so much, and I think that's huge, bro. Like, even though we're traders and stuff, and people that are watching right now, you came here, to hear about trading and stuff, but I think this is huge, something that most people don't talk about. And I think has a direct effect on no matter what you're doing, whether you're trying to be a trader or not. I think thinking about what other people are thinking is gonna affect you in so many ways you don't even realize. And it feels good, huh? It feels good to not care what people think. It feels good to do you, just like you're posting videos out to help people. I do the same thing, and it
Yeah.
just feels good. It feels good to do what I want to do. And whenever I kind of had that breakthrough of like, I don't care what anybody else thinks, I want to do me, I want to help people. If you have the wrong perspective on me, you take something in an envious or jealous way, and I don't have those intentions at all, it's like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, even if you hate me, I'm not going to do you back wrong, because it's just not going to do me any good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had people try and mess with me so much, bro. Like, especially honestly, now that I've grown a little bit, like, there's people that like really want to mess with you, like, and it's just like, I'm not even going to do you back wrong, because
Yeah.
that's gonna come out of me, and I don't want, that's not me, so I'm gonna just focus on myself. Keep a clear head, when I'm trading, because we're doing what we want to do. So, and the fact that other people get to watch and listen, and we can share our experiences to potentially shorten up everyone else's learning curve is amazing. So I think that's huge.
100%, man. I agree with everything you said there. Especially,
Yeah.
and you'll always get that. You'll always get people who say like you shouldn't trade, or even if you have a fantastic strategy, you know, that fits you really well and makes you happy every day you wake
Mhm.
up. You're like, I get to trade my favorite strategy that I get to trade every day.
Yeah.
No one can take this away from me, right?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
It's such a good feeling. It's like, how can anybody rain on that parade?
Yeah.
Even if you do really well, you're always going to get that person that says, like,
Mhm.
you're lucky, or you'll get the other
Yeah.
person that says,
Bro,
I did it
sometimes
10 times better. And it's just like,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. We just have to realize everyone's gonna have an opinion.
Yeah.
And one thing I think is kind of funny, sometimes I'll say something about a stock and they'll be like, no, it's not gonna do this. I'll be like, okay, short it. Short it. I'm like, okay, short it. No. I'm like, okay, then like, but no, it's whatever. It's just a cool experience to like meet people like you again, bro. Like, this is dope.
Yeah,
That
I
we just get
agree.
to talk like this, and again, people just get to listen. So these options though are going to be fun. You're in which one? Which one are you kind of mostly focused on right now? Do you have a position in?
Yeah, so I have my SPY spreads, and I also have sold a Palantir cash secured put where you just have the amount of cash needed to cover that position if you're assigned shares. So
Hmm.
I sold the 27 strike price expiring this Friday on Palantir. I'm up about $50
Hmm.
to make 100 more by Friday, which would be ideal. But they have to stay above 270 or 270, sorry, 27 a share, and they're currently I think like 26.50, maybe even closer to 26. So that's the pretty much the trade I'm most excited about right now because I bought it a week and a half ago, and it's going to return me 5.5% in a week and a half, which is just
Yeah.
ridiculous, right? On that
Yeah.
investment.
Almost an index fund.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'll take that 5.5% in a week and a half.
Hmm.
Let's say if I was able to replicate this, I always go to my brain with a $100,000 account. If I had a $100,000 account and I was able to make 5.5% every 2 weeks, well, that's 11,000 a month. Times that by
Hmm.
12, that's 132 grand, right? So in a year, if I was to be successful the entire time, which would not happen, right? Because we're trading, we're managing risk. That's just the potential, right? And that's just cash secured. So I'm getting my feet wet by playing with 2,400 to $5,000 in
Hmm.
collateral on a position, and if I can make $500 a week between everything I do, I've hit my goal. And even this week I got burned because I tried to shoot for 1,000. I got aggressive with Tesla and broke one of my rules, which is I always play 85% or higher probability out of the money. This week I played at the 80% strike range and got burned on because of it. And it was just, you learn. And
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love I love doing that as a trader of like putting in more money than you're willing to lose, just a little bit more to see
Hmm.
if how it affects you emotionally and where you get to the point where you're either sweating or you wake up at 4 in the morning to check pre-market, right, or whatever it is. So that's what's fun. I like to push myself a little
That's
bit.
dope.
It's
Yeah,
so fun. It's like
bro.
working out.
And
It's like putting a little bit
anybody
more on.
Yeah. Anybody watching this, if you haven't, check out the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Amazing. He talks about a lot of the psychology and everything that goes into it. And you kind of see how you're talking about how maybe I'm going to use about this much so I can see you're trying to identify what's my triggers, which I think is huge. But no, that's really cool how you have everything planned out. It's a process. You're not just taking it random trade by random trade. You kind of have a goal. You know what you're looking for. You know what you need to do. And again, one thing with me, when I'm looking for some of these setups, sometimes it's, can I be disciplined enough to actually, I know what I'm looking for, I know what I need to see, but can I be disciplined enough to actually wait for exactly what I need to see when I see all this stuff making money and this, am I able to tune out the noise? Kind of just like what you're saying about that 80% one, how you're talking about it needs to be 85%. So I guess for you, that could be a little bit, you can test the limits a little bit, but that's kind of where, can I be disciplined enough to wait for exactly what I need to see? I want 85%, so that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not taking anything else because even if the 85%, even if it doesn't go my way every time, I know out of 20, 50 trades, that's what I'm looking for. So I think that's huge. Testing yourself, seeing, can I be disciplined enough to wait? You need the patience to wait, and then you need the discipline to act when you see it. One thing real quick that I remember used to mess me up was I used to be so patient to see my setup. So patient. It'd be like days would go by. I see my setup. I want to nail it. I see my setup. I missed the entry. So I finally see the setup. I missed the entry. Now I'm feeling FOMO because I was patient enough to wait. Then I missed the entry. And then I noticed myself, I tend to have a loss after that. And it almost never fails. So even just, that's why I think journaling will be huge. We all react to certain stuff differently. But yeah, when you know what you want to know, it's just about being disciplined to actually wait for what you want to see. So,
and I'm really excited for you to jump into options. I think it's such a fantastic game to play, and you can manage your risk in a portfolio. And the majority of my portfolio, I mean, 75% of my portfolio is in long-term shares. I just use the other 25% for options, and I play super high probability, and I use it for weekly income. And whether I use my weekly income to buy more shares or just sit in my brokerage account so I can take on bigger positions. Or just mainly those two. That's what I do. I very rarely will pull some back out to then go spend or whatever. But my whole goal has always been, if I have this sum of money, how can I create weekly income? So then if I, of course, needed that money, I could pull it. But also I have an idea of how I'm going to grow my account. And of course, how price action happens is completely out of our control. It's not like if SPY dips to 375, if I buy one share, it'll go back up, right? So buying, and that's what I like about buying shares for the long term so much is, okay, I have XYZ amount of Apple or this or that, and if Apple's to get to this price, this is where I would be sitting, and can this get my account to then, 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, and then can I take it from there and make a full-time income off the market based on my risk parameters and just the way to set that up. And
isn't it crazy? No, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Isn't it crazy when you actually crunch the numbers like you did? Isn't it crazy how you see how, I could actually do that? Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
It becomes crazy when you actually realize what you can actually do when you can plan out, this is what I want to do this time period, and you see I could do that. You know what I mean? Why not sell some calls while I'm holding the shares of the stock and collect the premium? If that, just to me, I'm just like, how is that possible?
Isn't it ridiculous? I think about that all the time. One of my goals is to get my account to 100,000, so then I could, at that point, I mean, I don't mind liquidating most of my shares, but even like I stated earlier, 100 grand at a 4% return on the month even is still $4 grand a month.
Yeah, that's what.
In the cash secured put way, the only way you lose money is if you get assigned and then the share price drops and then you sell those shares at a loss. But if it's a company you don't mind holding, just wait for
you're assigned.
Yeah.
So and let's say you get assigned and we're trading companies we don't mind holding, right? Yeah. And that's another hedge against our risk. Yep. It's a company I don't mind holding. And it comes back around and you're assigned the 100 shares. Now you can sell calls again.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Against those shares. And then it's like
it's literally just, it's like a loophole. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, it really is. And again, I understand you first, people need to, build up the capital first that you're able to do that. But just the fact that there's opportunity there. So like if you're in the position right now to where you can't even trade anything yet, you might have $50 or $100. My best thing is I would say just save more.
Yeah.
Just paper trade while you can. Just don't just know that the money's always there and it will always be there today, tomorrow, next year. Just know that the market's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Save up money if you have to, because once you really get the knowledge and learn the education, and I never really understood what they meant by like knowledge is power, but it's not just knowing things, it's by knowing what to do with what you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can have a lot of money, and if you don't know options or you don't know covered calls or something that could be producing you something, but if you don't know, you don't know. So I just think it's amazing to be able to really learn a lot of this knowledge, and it's going to be cool learning more from you as well too, bro. So
I appreciate that.
It's really out there. Yeah, covered calls and cash secured puts. So yeah, that's something that I saw that I was like, wow, I'd probably get really into that later on as well.
Yeah, it's huge, man. You just grow your account really rapidly over the long term. I mean, you're
Mhm.
looking at outperforming indexes,
Mhm.
and within a
Yeah,
month, even 2 months.
yeah. And I kind of think, let's say with covered calls and like in cash secured puts, let's say the volatility in the market goes back down. Let's say a year from now, 2 years from now, let's say the volatility goes back to steady, where
Yep.
there's not drastic moves. People aren't making a ton of money quick, losing a ton of money quick. With cash secured puts, or covered calls and things like that, you would still be able to do that in a sideways moving market.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you don't even need a bull market to do it. And from my understanding though, with that increased volatility is going to increase the implied volatility, which increases the premium
Yep.
prices and all that too, right? So I understand those effects, but just the fact that even in a sideways moving market, you can still perform a lot of these techniques. So that's cool.
It's literally crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing, and you can
Oh yeah.
always hit the call credit spread side if the market's moving down. You just say,
Mhm.
okay, I don't think the market's going to go higher than this, and if it doesn't, you're good. You're golden.
Yeah. And you
And
sell a call.
yeah,
Like
sell a call.
what? What?
You can sell it to
That's
some,
crazy.
and that's what I've noticed is my wins are way more consistent when you're selling options because it makes me feel like I'm the casino, right? When
Hmm.
you're selling it to
Hmm.
the buyer.
They do have a higher probability.
Yep.
Yeah.
Higher.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Just
Okay. See, that's another reason why again I love the idea of selling options too, and that's another reason why I'm really glad I started off with Tasty Trade, because
yeah.
they realize the edge there. They track the statistics. They realize selling options and things like that is better over the long run. When you get taking losses could be a little bigger, especially with the trades that have the higher probability. You probably have more capital at risk, but a higher probability on the trade. I love that type of trading because with me, when I'm shorting, I have no issue waiting. Because when I'm shorting, I'm like, I know I'm going to make X amount. Like, why would I not just be patient and wait? I love the high probability setups. I see this setup, it's not as high probability. Yeah, I can make money, but why? Like, why do I even want to touch it? I could easily just wait tomorrow or the next day for this A+ setup that I can confidently nail.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think selling options is probably going to be more the route I go, especially getting into it. And when I kind of find more of what works for me, what do I like personally. But I do love the idea of selling options like you were mentioning too.
Dude, it's seriously the best. Like, I bought a
Yeah.
lot of them, and I still do. Like, I still have swing positions that I like to take, but just
Hmm.
the being on the seller side is just such a exciting thing. Like having the high probability of winning and winning when the market goes sideways.
It's because you're looking for the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I can find that consistency, I don't care if my profit is capped. If I can find something that's consistent, that percentage of your profit is scalable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's cool as well.
100%, man. Well,
Yeah.
I want to let you, plug your Discord, your channels, and of course your
Mm.
TikTok, which I'll bring up at some point in the video because
Yeah.
you are seriously like one of the most inspiring content creators out there, and definitely helped my mindset early on when I first got into trading more aggressively. Of just saying like, hey, I
Mm.
want to become a trader instead of, hey, I watched the market and it was like, I don't
Mm.
know, should I trade today? Should I
Yeah.
not? Whatever. So
Yeah.
just to where it became more of a main thing, and you were always there right out of the gate, and I found you on TikTok, and it's just so cool how
Mm.
everything lines up, and now we're chatting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I seriously
That's dope.
appreciate like your grind and hustle with the content and just being a content creator. It's a hard thing, and
Yeah. And mentally, people don't understand how like
yeah,
it can be difficult creating sometimes. But
100%.
no, I appreciate you, Logan, and I'm happy I could have some type of influence in some way. That's pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
seriously it's awesome, and just to just to have that opportunity in the first place of having a platform and being able to
it's
reach
crazy.
people. It's absolutely crazy. Like
Hmm.
you would never think that you could like change, some people will say, after watching their favorite creator that they put them on the right path on their life again. I think that's just such a
It's
like
awesome. Yeah, it's
eye-opening.
surreal.
Yeah, it really is. Like
Yeah.
absolutely
Hmm.
surreal.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you get people that message you questions, and it's just a good feeling being able to just guide you in the right direction, Because,
Yeah.
and again, first getting into the market, bro, it's just I wasted so much time in certain areas. I didn't know what was right. I didn't know what was wrong. It's just I had to experience it for myself to kind of know. So it's like when I'm creating these TikToks, like, this is what's the important stuff. This is what really matters. Don't even waste your time on this or this. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it's an opportunity for everyone. There's no competition. There's no. We're all on our own journey. We're literally all on our. It sounds so cliche and cheesy, but it's so facts.
Yeah.
Like we're all doing our own thing. There's no competition. No, none of that. So just reach out to people where you can get help and things like that, and just connect with other people. Never see yourself as competition with anybody, and who cares what anybody thinks. And it feels so much better to just live by that. You know what I mean? Just
100%.
I don't care what you think, and I don't care if you do me wrong. I'm not gonna do you wrong. It's just life. So, but yeah, no, thanks, Logan. I really appreciate you having me on here. It was fun. Probably gonna have you. Well, have to have you on my channel one of these days too, if you're down,
Dude, let's do it. I'd even be down to be on a TikTok or TikTok Live or however that
bro.
works. I don't even know, man.
Bro, can you go on TikTok live with more than one people?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know,
okay.
maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna have to plan something. Then I'm down.
Let's do it. Yeah. I mean, even if
Sure.
you did it live and I zoomed in with you or whatever,
Yeah.
or did some content or, even post this parts of this video or whatever on your TikTok,
Yeah.
it'd be the craziest thing in the
Oh,
world.
facts, bro. Bro, whatever. Yeah, bro, I'm down. Thanks for having me, Logan. It was fun talking about options and things we're getting into. So thanks.
And like, if you want to come on down the road consistently, whether it's monthly or whatever your time permits,
Mhm.
man, and you just
I'm
talk about
down.
how you're doing
Yeah, I
your
can I
options
can
stuff.
update even a lot of Logan's viewers. We can update you if you're down. You can tune into the Tasty Trade networks.
Yeah.
So on Mondays and Fridays at 1:30 Central Time, I'll be on Tasty. You just have to type in tastytrade.com and then hit live.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be on there with Tom and things like that, and Kayla, another content creator. You probably saw her.
Yep.
We'll be on there, and Tom is gonna. We're gonna give him an idea. We're gonna say, "Hey, I'm neutral, I'm bullish on this, or I'm bearish, or whatever." And Tom is gonna help us construct a trade idea, and I think that'll help so many people just getting into options as well. So if you have any free time, feel free to tune into Tasty Trade on Mondays and Fridays at 1:30 Central Time. So
Yeah, perfect, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch the recent one. It's
yeah,
the Monday
yeah.
one.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. But
But
hey, I appreciate
no.
it, man. And
Mhm.
make sure you guys go follow Errol on TikTok, and you can also follow him on Instagram. He also has a Discord as well. So I'll link all of those in the description of this video. But seriously, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Oh yeah, thanks, Logan. I'll see you next time, bro.
Definitely. All right, make sure you
Yeah.
guys leave a like, subscribe, comment on this video below. Go check everything out, and we will see you guys in the next video.